No context I could provide here would make this any less weird. It is what it is, and it stands on its own terms. Ready? Here we go. Question. Mr. President, you said if you see someone getting ready to throw a tomato, just knock the crap out of them, would you? That was your statement? Answer, Trump. Oh, yeah, it was very dangerous. Question. What was very dangerous? Answer, Trump. We were threatened. Question. With what? Answer, Trump. They were going to throw fruit. We were threatened. We had a threat. Question. How did you become aware that there was a threat that people were going to throw fruit? Answer, Trump. We were told, I thought the Secret Service was involved in that actually, but we were told, and you get hit with fruit, it's very violent stuff. We were on alert for that. Question. A tomato is a fruit after all, I guess? Answer, Trump. And you know what? Interjection from separate lawyer. Judicial notice, please. Apparently that is agreed to, at which point Trump's own lawyer jumps in and says, it has seeds, meaning a tomato has seeds, therefore it's a fruit. Trump then continues. It's worse than tomato. It's other things also. But tomato, when they start doing that stuff, it's very dangerous. That's actually literally the transcript. But tomato, when they start doing that stuff, it's very dangerous. Question. Who were you speaking to when you said, answer, Trump, the audience? Question. So you were speaking to the audience when you said if they saw someone getting ready to throw a tomato, just knock the crap out of them, would you? Answer, Trump. That was to the audience. It was said sort of in jest, but maybe, a little truth to it. It's very dangerous stuff. You can get killed with those things. Question. So were you trying to incentivize people to engage in violence? Trump's lawyer, objection. Trump answers anyway. Trump, no, I wanted to have people be ready because we were put on alert that they were going to do fruit. And some fruit is a lot worse than tomatoes are bad, by the way, but it's very dangerous. Question. Do you have any knowledge as to whether or not anybody was found to have tomatoes in their possession on that date? Answer, Trump. I don't know, but it didn't happen. It worked out that nothing happened. The speech was good. Question. You said you were talking to the audience, but is the same true of your security? Do you expect your security to knock the crap out of someone if they see them about? Answer, Trump. I was talking to the audience. Question. Mr. President, please let me finish the question so we can get the whole record very clear. Is it your expectation that if your security guards see someone about to throw a tomato, that they should knock the crap out of that person? Answer, Trump. Well, a tomato, a pineapple, a lot of other things they throw. Yeah, I think that they have to be aggressive in stopping that from happening, because if that happens, you can be killed if that happens. Question. And getting aggressive in your terms, that includes the use of physical force? Answer, Trump. To stop somebody from throwing pineapples, tomatoes, bananas, stuff like that? Yeah, it's dangerous stuff. I am not smart enough to make something like this up. I am not smart enough to make up something this perceptive about how a particular man's brain works. If I was, I could write amazing textbooks for political science classes about what to look for when trying to identify a person who shouldn't be entrusted with a lot of power. You imagined a pineapple might be thrown, and so, yeah, you could be killed. This is a deposition that was just released late last night. It's a deposition taken from former President Donald Trump 6 months ago in an ongoing civil case in New York about some protesters who were beaten up outside Trump Tower shortly after Trump started his run for the presidency. These protesters were beaten up by Trump security guards, and the protesters have contended in court that Trump is liable for them being beaten up that day because they contend that Trump directed his security guards to beat up the protesters. And as part of them making their case, the protesters are trying to get at Trump's, as they would put it, Trump's established pattern of him asking people to physically attack others. Him asking people particularly to physically attack other people who are protesting against him. that argument, that line of argument in the civil case that Trump directed those security guards to attack and physically beat up those protesters, that is a pattern that Trump had established and has publicly displayed. That line of argument from the plaintiffs in the civil case against Trump, that's why this video was actually played in that deposition ahead of the questioning that I just read you.
So if you see somebody getting ready to throw a tomato, knock the crap out of them, would you? Seriously. Okay? Just knock the hell. I promise you, I will pay for the legal fees. I promise. I promise.
That was in 2016, February 2016, which is actually after these plaintiffs were beaten up by Trump security guards outside Trump Tower. But these plaintiffs contend in court that Trump publicly imploring other people to knock the bleep out of people protesting, people posing the terrifying threat of potentially throwing a tomato. That shows the pattern of Trump ordering violence against protesters, perhaps even violence out of keeping with any perceived threat the protesters might pose. Now, if throwing a tomato is actually a lethal threat, though, what wouldn't be justified? With the release of this deposition in this past day, we now know a whole new thing we didn't know before about former President Trump, which is that he is apparently desperately afraid of a flying tomato.